Good morning. Well, I'm going to need some more energy from this group today. Can we try that one more time? Good morning. Thank you. Welcome, of course, to Parsons School of Design at the New School. My name is Courtney Malenius. I'm the Director of Graduate Admission, and on behalf of the entire admissions office, I would just like to welcome you to campus and, of course, congratulate you on your offers of admission. This year, Parsons received more graduate applications than ever before, and this was an increase not only in volume, but in quality as well. The insights you articulated in your personal statements, the talents you demonstrated in your portfolios and writing samples, and the positive impact you've made within your communities more than impressed us, and we would be enormously proud to welcome you as the newest members of our community. The New School is a special place. As you saw from the video, we have a unique but complementary blend of disciplines and interests. This unique composition is rooted in our distinctive history. One of the things that first drew me to working at Parsons in the New School was this rich history and how it has translated into the vibrancy and community that we have here today. Being in downtown Manhattan, we've always been fast to set trends. In fact, the New School was the first institution to offer a media studies program in the United States, and Parsons was among the first to offer programs in fashion design and interior design. So it's not a coincidence that in recent years we were among the first to offer disciplines such as data visualization and strategic design and management. And within all of our programs, we are always updating and refreshing to remain at the forefront of each field. In a similar way, Parsons was one of the first schools in the United States to offer courses in Europe at our school in Paris, which was established in 1921. Again, it's no coincidence that we now have one of the largest international student populations in higher ed, with over 40% of our graduate students hailing from outside the US. Quick show of hands, how many of you here today are from the metropolitan New York area? Okay, a fair number of you. How many of you traveled in from out of state? That includes New Jersey, Connecticut, right? And anyone here from another country? Oh my goodness, more than a few. Don't be bashful, shout out. Where in the world did you travel here from today? Germany, Canada, Italy. Wait, I'm hearing more. Kazakhstan, wow. You may have the award for having traveled the furthest. We'll see if anyone can beat you. Anyone else? Ecuador, wonderful. I think there were some others, though, that I may have missed, no? No? Well, that is fantastic. I am always just blown away by the geographic diversity of our student body. It's truly remarkable. Parsons and the New School have always been leaders in crossing boundaries and inclusivity. And in today's political climate, it feels important to mention our connection to the university in exile. For those of you who are not familiar with the New School's history, in 1933, the University in Exile became the graduate division of the New School, providing an educational safe haven for European scholars whose educational pursuits were in danger because of governmental censorship or persecution. The New School gladly opened its doors to these persecuted scholars, and I'm proud to say that spirit still exists here today. Now, these are just a few of the reasons that studying at Parsons is such a rich and dynamic experience, and this is just a glimpse into our storied history. I encourage you to learn more about our campus and how we came to be by visiting our website after today. It will help you to understand why when you come to study at Parsons, say in fine arts or theories of urban practice or lighting design, you will be connected to a legacy beyond even that of your program. Admitted Students Day is an important day in your life as an artist, designer, or scholar. I encourage you to make the most of it. Ask lots of questions. Get to know our world-class faculty and learn as much as you can about your program and also engage fully with your future peers that are here today. In this spirit, please take a moment to just introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you or around you. They, of course, very well could be your future collaborators here at Parsons, so don't be bashful. Say hi to everyone. All right, now I want you to keep that great energy going. as I introduce our next featured speaker, who is the Executive Dean of the Parsons School of Design, Joel Towers.
Nothing like asking you to start talking and then asking you to stop talking. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Joel Towers. I'm the Dean of Parsons. I'm joined today by three of the school deans who are here, Jane Perrone, Sarah Lawrence, and Robert Kirkbride. The others are traveling and so couldn't be here today, but you will meet both the deans as well as faculty from each of the programs in a little while. We just wanted to take an opportunity to say a few words of welcome, a couple of things about the school, and really to just start off by thinking about why you are here today and reflecting on why we all came here. I can tell you that, like you, about 13 years ago, I had a decision to make as to whether to come to the new school. I was running a collaborative architecture practice. I was teaching at Columbia. And an opportunity presented itself to make a decision to come to this place. And I came here in part because the work that I was doing at the time focused on sustainability and architecture and urbanization could really only be pursued, in my opinion, in the kind of cross-disciplinary environment that the new school provides. And in the 13 years that I've been here, I've never looked back on that decision. I have been amazed by the colleagues that I have come to know over the years that I've been here, and by the rich truth to the diversity of this place, both in terms of the student body, in terms of the cross-disciplinarity of the programs that we both offered then and we do today, and what we've developed in the meantime. So you all came here in part because you have a pretty good idea what you'd like to study. You've applied to one of these programs. You've been accepted. Congratulations, by the way. As Courtney said, this was an exceptionally competitive year for us, and it has continued to become more and more competitive to get into Parsons, in part because of the richness of the 16 different programs that we offer, and in part because of the reputation of the work coming out of the place on behalf of the students and the really incredible research going on behalf of our faculty. So while you may have a good sense of what you've come here to study, I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce you to the way we have organized study here at Parsons. So those 16 programs have been organized into schools. You've met three of the school deans, and the idea of organizing these programs this way is to produce a kind of shared community of practice, a cross-disciplinarity, and a relationship among programs. We organize those into what we call schools. The 5 deans of the schools and myself work together as the academic leadership of Parsons. We meet regularly, weekly in fact. I think sometimes it seems interminably to them, but that's just the nature of the academy. And we do so in part because the sharing across each of those schools is what makes the additional richness within Parsons. Just to give you some examples of what goes on across schools and what you can see here, I've highlighted a few of the programs that participate regularly in a couple of the next activities. This is the Healthy Materials Lab. Again, there are a lot of opportunities on the research front for students in particular programs to reach beyond their own area of study and to collaborate. And collaboration is really key here. Collaboration is one of the core capacities of working in art and design and innovation and business. And collaboration is something that we take on very seriously, both from a pedagogical perspective, but also from a research output perspective. And so the Healthy Materials Lab is a good example of that, working with scientists and policymakers and designers to think about and come up with solutions to the problem of toxicity in building materials, and to do so in a way that comes up with alternatives, introduces it into policy, and begins to do work in the real world. So for example, the New York City Housing Authority, NYCHA, is working with the Healthy Materials Lab to introduce non-toxic materials into childcare facilities. And this year, the Healthy Materials Lab is working with our architecture graduate program in the Children's Museum of the Arts to introduce materials into the renovation that will be in their entrance area and is being designed by, and this summer will be built by, our students. Another example of this work is the Open Style Lab. And here, Grace Jun, who is an alum of Parsons and also has come back to teach and started the Open Style Lab, first at MIT in 2014, and now has relocated it here to the new school and to Parsons, where it is housed, and which does a variety of different kinds of projects over the course of any given year. They do a summer intensive research program. They do a collab with us in our graduate programs, and they produce very important research. What you see going on in the video behind you is a project that's working with Peter Trojek, who has cerebral palsy, and the Open Style Lab is focused on making clothing accessible across all sorts of different abilities. And so they've been working with Pete to develop jackets that deal both with the complexities of being in his wheelchair as well as his need for clothing and for storage and other kinds of activities. Research is very important, not just here on campus, but as it relates to the world in which we live. We provide access to travel research application funds for graduate students. As Courtney mentioned, in 1921, we established a campus in Paris, at Parsons Paris, and these programs both have programming there, and we encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity, as well as the opportunities for travel and research in all of our programs. Now, that gives you some sense of what's going on within Parsons, but if you think more broadly about what Parsons is, it is embedded within the new school. And I can tell you that when I made that decision 13 years ago to come here, it was in equal parts because of the new school and because of Parsons that I came to this university. The thing that differentiates Parsons is the fact that it is a large, comprehensive art and design school. If we were an independent school of art and design, we would be the largest of the ACAD schools here in the United States and Canada, the most comprehensive and the top ranked. However, it is not just that factor of Parsons, but the fact that we sit, as I said, within this university, that we sit within the new school that brings together the humanities, that brings together social science and policy and performing arts in ways that allow us to be thinking as designers, as artists, as business leaders and innovators in collaboration with all of those other disciplines. And it allows us to approach problems that are complex, that define the 21st century, and to really think comprehensively across that space. Now, we do that both in terms of our programming and our curriculum, and we do that in terms of our research. So what you see here is a university transdisciplinary lab project that is this semester being run by Tony Dunn and Fiona Raby, who joined the university a couple of years ago. And these university transdisciplinary labs provide curricular space. They provide credit-bearing space in your graduate programs to work with students, not just in Parsons, but across the university. And so this project, which looks at kind of alternative realities and future thinking in relationship to design and the social sciences, draws together students not only from Parsons, several of our graduate programs in design and technology, in transdisciplinary design, in industrial design, and so forth, but also draws students from anthropology and sociology and economics into it in this particular instance. The curricular and the cultural cross-disciplinarity of the new school is reinforced by the facilities and the city that we are in. So it's one thing to have a great curriculum, have a fantastic faculty and to build a culture, but if you don't support that in terms of physical space, if you don't support that in terms of engagement with the city in which we live, which is in and of itself an extraordinarily cross-disciplinary, innovative space. New York City is 35% international. Our Parsons graduate programs are about 60% international, so we are even more international than New York City. And we're proud of that because it's from that diversity, it's from that cross-cultural exchange that new ideas emerge, that problems are solved, that new knowledge is generated, and hopefully it's where work that can happen to bring people together, particularly in the challenges of rising nationalism and issues of a kind of retreat from the complexity of global problems, could seem to derail very important progress in a whole range of issues. The New School is an answer to that kind of challenge. It's so important to be here at this time, and it's so important to be in New York City, in part because of the particular challenges that we face, in part because the world is complex, is interconnected, is global, and this is where we address those issues. This is up on 16th Street, what we refer to as the Graduate Hub, which draws together students from Parsons, from the New School for Social Research, from public engagement and media studies, and is really a very rich and diverse community. We also encourage you, I'm encouraging you right now, that to come take part in, and if you are in the tri-state area, as I saw many of you were, to come back April 20th when our festival begins. Every year at the end of the semester, we bring together a range of different presentations, both of student work, but also symposia and faculty work and other kinds of collaboration that's happened across the New School, and we open the doors to the community, and I really encourage you to partake this year, and it will run all the way through to graduation and to our events at the very end of the year. The other thing that I encourage you to do, and some of you, I gather, may have already started to do so today, which is to take a walk around. Get a sense of the physical resources provided to you. Parsons has been making really significant strides in the course of the last 4 or 5 years to build these cross-disciplinary spaces like our new Making Center over in Sheila Johnson Design Center across the street, and the kind of intersection that that space provides for research in traditional materials and new materials, and traditional means of making and new means of making, and bringing all of those things together in one place with the students from across Parsons and the university. So you'll end up having students who are working in photography or illustration sitting next to students in architecture or urban programs who are sitting next to strategic design and management students or students studying the history and theory of art and design in all sorts of ways. And that collaboration in a making space allows us to really move the needle forward. So I encourage you to see the making facilities that we have built here. And then finally, this is sort of a digital postcard from a few years ago, just to give you a sense of our community. The MFA Design and Technology graduating class of a few years ago had produced this image, and I liked it so much that I always go back to it, because it really gives you a sense of who we are and the fun of this place, because sometimes it appears very serious, and there are serious and real issues that art and design and business creativity are today better poised than ever before to address, if you can do it in the context and environment of a place like this. But there's also a lot of fun here. So do join us. I hope you will. You're going to get to meet the faculty and the deans from the colleges shortly. But I really hope you'll ask us lots of questions, interrogate the place. The decision you're making is a significant one. I am fully convinced this is the place to be. I love being here, and I'd love to talk to any of you who have any questions. So welcome to Parsons, and welcome to the New School.